On the line with us, we're going to get back to your calls in just a moment on Anything Goes Friday, but on the line with us is Harvey Kaye, professor of democracy and justice studies at the University of Wisconsin in Green Bay, the author of numerous books. His latest, The Fight for the Four Freedoms, What Made FDR and the Greatest Generation Truly Great. Today is the 75th anniversary of FDR's Second Bill of Rights. His Twitter handle is Harvey J. Kaye, K-A-Y-E, and his website, well, that's his Twitter handle. Harvey, welcome back to the program.
Tom, good to hear your voice.
It's nice to have you on. So I don't think most Americans even know that a sitting president of the United States 75 years ago today called for free college education for everybody, free health care for everybody, and an absolute guarantee that your job will pay you enough that you can have a reasonable standard of living, along with two other things.
That shows you how effective the suppression of memory has been by conservatives, and how much the left or liberals at best have turned their backs on a tremendous legacy, the legacy we ought to be reviving today.
Yeah, amen. So tell us about it.
Well, when FDR ran for president originally in 1932, he first called for an economic declaration of rights. And I don't know how many people actually took him seriously when he said that, but I think he was sincere even at that time. And then in 1941, when the United States had yet to enter World War II, he delivered a State of the Union message which called for, at least the pursuit of, a world characterized by four essential freedoms: freedom of speech and expression, freedom of worship, freedom from want, and freedom from fear. And it did become the sort of guiding philosophy of the war effort. But I still don't think people were quite ready to take it as seriously as he probably intended it. And then in 1944, in the State of the Union message, with the intention of running again for president that year, he put even more emphasis on those four freedoms by elaborating and stating in that message this Bill of Rights, a second Bill of Rights, or an economic Bill of Rights. And really, it became not simply a sort of handy device in the State of the Union message, but the CIO, the Congress of Industrial Organizations, they actually launched a major campaign that year in 1944, making that vision of a second Bill of Rights the heart of the campaign. They went out, they were going to organize people to vote, they issued pamphlets. I mean, it was a tremendous project on their part. And of course, FDR won once again, his fourth time for president. Now, I can tell you that that kind of speech was not welcomed by Republicans and was not necessarily welcomed by Southern Democrats. And FDR was under no illusion that he would be able to see the enactment of that second Bill of Rights he was calling for. However, he did envision the possibility that after the war, those kinds of freedoms, those kinds of rights would become part of American public discourse and possibly enacted in various forms. And I'll just add that though it did not happen in that way, of course, the GI Bill of Rights, which was enacted in 44 and 45, became very much the basis upon which the United States took off after World War II and literally created the middle class.
Right. It was with all these things. So go through the five elements of the Second Bill of Rights.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting list. He actually calls, I'll just read a few of the lines: the right to earn enough to provide adequate food and clothing and recreation. And notice, and recreation.
Right, you can take a vacation every year.
Yeah, exactly. That was essential for not only economic security, but for well-being. He actually mentions the right of every farmer to raise and sell his produce at a return which will give him and his family a decent living. The right of every family to a decent home. How's that for a concept?
Right, guaranteed housing, that's right.
Right, the right to adequate medical care and the opportunity to achieve and enjoy good health, which I think goes back also to that idea of recreation.
Right.
Similarly, he talks about the right to adequate protection from the economic fears of old age, sickness, accident, and unemployment. And by no means the least of them, the right to a good education. And let's not forget that FDR himself, in that GI Bill of Rights, envisioned the education and the training of an entire generation of young Americans who had enlisted and fought or been drafted and fought in some fashion in World War II. And that involved up to 16 million young Americans.
And he accomplished that, by the way. I mean,
and you bet 12 million of the veterans, which included men and women, actually took advantage of those things. And as I said, it really did lead to the development of not only a phenomenal higher education system in the United States, because colleges necessarily expanded, but also a generation literally improved themselves, radically transformed themselves and the nation at the very same time. And I would also add that vision of the Second Bill of Rights also comes up as part of the Great Society initiatives of the 1960s.
Of LBJ, yeah, amen.
Right.
So hopefully, as more and more Democratic candidates are stepping forward to talk about, yes, I would like to be president, we already have,
right.
Yeah, we've got several so far. Elizabeth Warren was first to announce. It looks like Kamala Harris is going to be next. Sherrod Brown is making some noises. These are all good, solid progressives who I would think would be 100% behind the Second Bill of Rights. And in my opinion, it's time for the Democratic Party to return to its FDR roots and just start overtly saying these kinds of things.
Right. I would remind people that in November of 2015, Bernie actually gave a speech at Georgetown University, which was nationally streamed, in which he reminded Americans of FDR's Second Bill of Rights or Economic Bill of Rights. I can readily imagine AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, resurrecting these things. I mean, for what it's worth, I'm tweeting this as much as I can to get the word out. I noticed there's an article in The Nation today. I mean, there is discussion.
Mm-hmm.
A smart set of Democrats. We need a vision. And this would be the basis for that kind of vision.
Yeah, amen. Harvey Kaye, professor of democracy and justice studies at the University of Wisconsin in Green Bay, the author of The Fight for the Four Freedoms, among other numerous and brilliant books. My favorite of all the things you've written is your book on Thomas Paine. What was the title of that again?
Thomas Paine and the Promise of America, still alive and well, so they can find it in various places.
There you go. Harvey, and you can tweet him at Harvey J. Kaye, K-A-Y-E. Harvey, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, Tom. Anytime. Thank you.
My pleasure. Great talking with you. It's a marvelous day.